sports. Now, the 21st Nigerian National Festival will today wind down in Asaba, the Delta State capital, after almost 2 weeks of intense competition among both amateur and professional athletes. Hosts Delta State made good their earlier promise to host and win, having swept most of the medals on offer. However, it is what this competition has brought to Delta State in terms of economic and social progress that is germane to our next conversation with the State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Charles Aniagwu. Great to see you again and welcome to the show. Congratulations on what is being reviewed as a great outing. And, as I said in the intro, we've seen Delta State athletes at the top of the medals tables. Hotels, I believe, are fully booked. Asaba is a hub of activity. Can you give us some insight into some of the wins that the state experienced over the past few days?
Well, thank you very much, Bimba. I can tell you that it's been quite wonderful, but it will be closing tomorrow, actually. They were already preparing for the closing formalities. What you saw at the opening, which many people have said have been the best since the history of the festival, is going to be a child's play. So be rest assured that tomorrow, the 10th of December, is going to be another level of fun here in Asaba, the Delta State capital, where a number of the athletes will converge to witness the closing ceremonies. But it has been quite wonderful. We give God the glory for the enthusiasm the athletes have actually demonstrated in the course of this festival. The officials and the athletes, as well as even our colleagues, gentlemen of the media who have also converged here on Asaba for the purpose of coverage and reportage of these events, they have all been wonderful. Everybody have very well behaved. And so it aided the plans that we put in place, because if we had planned, an individual decided to work contrary to our plans, I can assure you that it wouldn't have been so wonderful as it has turned out to be. Now, on the aspect of business, you needed to see what is happening even right in front of the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba and almost every other place where this particular sport is taking place. It's been quite wonderful, quite amazing. Our people have been having fun doing their businesses, and then the athletes who have also converged here have had cause to get involved in some form of having to see how they can acquire some memorabilia as a way of reminding themselves that they were in Delta State this time of the year and this time of their life. So it's been quite wonderful. The hotels, like you said, are all fully booked. Individuals, beyond having to sleep, are also eating different delicacies and offer. And so, in spite of whatever amount that we have deployed for the purpose of hosting these events, I can assure you that the gains have been quite enormous. Majority of them have now come to see how peaceful we are also in Delta, and they have also interfaced with our peace-loving people here in Delta. And so you can't even quantify the gains. It's not something you just have to place monetary value, because the love will make a number of them return to Delta in the nearest future. So we're quite excited, and we hope by the grace of God, the closing formalities will become more like icing on the cake. And at the end of the day, you know that Senator Dr. Aniagwu have actually done much to develop a number of sectors, sports sector inclusive.
Well said, Mr. Aniagwu. But we understand that Olympians like Deji Aliyu and Falitat Ogunkoya have actually played down the competitiveness in this festival. They're basically saying that other states outside of Delta are not competing to win and are just, there for the fun of it, and downplaying just saying the other states are there for the participation and not to actually win. So in turn, this actually looks like, if Delta is the only state that's taking this very seriously, then why wouldn't you pull all these medals in the end? I'm just wondering what your take is on that, since it's coming from Olympians.
Well, it's not very true that other states are not competing. They are competing. Just you are talking about the difference between firepower of Delta and other states. Bayelsa has also shown a very good, example of what it is to aspire to come on top. Today, Bayelsa is coming up second. Has gotten well over 78 gold, and then Edo is trailing behind. But what you must understand is difference is that instead of saying that they are not competing, you must begin to ask what lesson do they need to learn from what we're doing in Delta. In the case of Delta, we don't wait for an event such as this to happen before we begin to assemble our athletes. All year round, apart from the fact that we get them involved and pay them, we also try as much as possible to introduce different competition that keeps them busy. One good thing about sports is about training and engagement. Even if you are a long distance runner or any particular race for that matter, and you are not practicing, you become a little stiff and you are not going to be able to do well. So somebody remarked yesterday, say, how come Delta is winning in even both able and disabled games? I said, because all year round, we get them to continue to practice. Beyond that, Senator Dr. Atofa Oko have improved a number of facilities in Delta where people can afford to engage in all year round training. And so everything about training, about sports, whether it's in the area of football, whether it's in the area of track events, or other form of field events, or even other games such as wrestling, your ability to constantly train, your ability to constantly get involved in such activities has a way of sharpening your skills. Even in the game of football, you saw what happened between Spain and Morocco in the ongoing World Cup in Qatar, where Morocco dealt with Spain without reminding themselves that most of the time people who want to cross from Africa to Europe usually take through Morocco and go through Spain. That is a question of individuals who had prepared themselves that they must be able to do exploit. And so in Delta, we prepare as if we have another game tomorrow. And I can assure you that shortly after this festival, our Sports Commission will start another round of preparation, as if we have another one next month. And so at the end of the day, you know that in the case of events like this, you could have somebody from another state who sees that the pasture is greener. When it comes to games like this, the pasture in Delta is greener because we take care of them, we ensure that they have the facilities. So that is why you see that we are doing better than other states. Not that they are not competing, but I'm sure that as time goes on, they may begin to aspire to come close. Because we jokingly say that sometimes you pray amiss, that for any team to want to pray to defeat Delta in this game may amount to praying amiss, because that means you are asking God to do the impossible for you. The only thing you can pray for, which I think Bayelsa have done, is to pray to come close to at least get the second position. But you can see the gap. Delta is already getting in the region of 180-something good, and Bayelsa in the region of 70-something good. So you could see the gap. But all the same, they have come out second, and I do hope that other states will now begin to see the need to come close. But I can tell you that for a very long time, Delta will remain the king, because sports is an indigene of Delta State.
All right, and we, of course, do continue to hope for the spirit of good sportsmanship. But we know that the National Sports Festival moves around the country. But what are the plans for Delta State to build off of some of the developments that we've seen? For example, earlier you talked about some facilities that have been upgraded and so forth. How will you maintain that momentum that you've created for domestic tourism for the state?
Well, what we have done, first of all, with respect to this game, is to ensure that we put in facilities that are going to be busy all year round. For instance, for the accommodation, we didn't decide to put the accommodation very close to the stadium because we know that outside this game or outside events like this, nobody will come and use such accommodation. So what we did is to build hostels in schools that are around the game area, so that even when this game is over, those hostels will be handed over to those schools. The students will continue to use them until such a time that we have another event to host, and then that hostel will be available. So now we have used, like he said, one stone to kill two birds. We have been able to expand the carrying capacity of our universities and schools around the game villages, even as we have also been able to provide enough facility to be able to host such games in the future. Now, on the issue of the event centers, we have in Delta created a number of programs that keep these facilities busy. Here I am talking to you from the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba. We have what we call the Headmasters Sports Cup. We have the Principals Cup and a number of other games, that's in the area of football, that keeps these places busy all year round. So that between now and the next 2-3 months, even if other games, other people don't even come from other states, or that the nation is not even bringing the Super Eagles, we are able to make use of this because we have our people engaged in activities that will take away their minds from crime. We are taking sports not only as a source of revenue for both us children or our state, but as a source of helping the mind to remain sound all year round. And so these facilities will remain maintained because we have cause to keep it busy all year round. And that is what we have done as a state. And our Sports Commission have always up to the billing. So we are quite convinced that these facilities will remain maintained and they will remain very, very functional. Because we are not waiting for National Sports Festival to keep them busy. We have already on our own been able to introduce programs that will always keep this place busy, in addition to the different indoor sports games that we have, that of course we have in our indoor sports hall. All these facilities will be busy, and as such, maintaining them will remain a focus of government, because for you to keep them busy, you must to keep them running by maintaining them.
Well, thank you, Mr. Aniagwu. Briefly, please, knowing that Delta makes all these investments when it comes to sports comparatively more than other states, from what we understand, how equipped are you and how prepared are you to play the role of a big brother in terms of inspiring other states to chart a similar course?
When it comes to this competition, we don't want to be a team player. How do I mean? Like, you needed to see the 400 meters game yesterday. You know, if you're a team player, you may want the next person competing with you to be very, very close. We will leave them behind. If they struggle, they can join us. We can be a team player on other issues, but when it comes to this game where we are competing, we will make sure you will leave you behind so that you know that there are lessons to be learned. So once you see the gap between Delta and others, you know that they have a whole lot to do so that they can come close. Now, we will play the role of big brother by letting them know what we have done to make us win. And in the course of this interview, I've made that very, very clear. That would not approach the fire brigade approach that only invites the fire brigade to come when there is fire. In our own case, it's all year round. Whether there is a national sports festival or not, our athletes are busy training. Because the other smaller competitions that happen across the country will also go there and win. Not long ago, they were in a lorry where they also, the junior athletes, we also took the goals. Even if Delta is hosting, or any other state for that matter is hosting, they only pray to come second because they know that that first position is reserved for Delta. And we are not going to be in a hurry to lose that first position because it helps our people. It's a source of pride for us, and we want to remain so. Go and look at even the national team. And when I ask you to mention some big names, you will discover that they were from Delta. So it is a place where we are holding, and we are going to hold it very, very tight. We urge others to compete so that they more like serve as impetus for us to put in more strength. But even as they come closer, we will tell them that Delta is home of sports, and that sports is an indigene of Delta. And as an indigene, you will always occupy your first place of position in the scheme of things.
We love your spirit. Well, that's Charles Aniagwu, the Commissioner for Information and Orientation for Delta State. Thank you so much for that update on the National Sports Festival.